Please make sure that MRP should be clearly printed on every single item. So in order to avoid any of the inverting issue, the UPC barcode should also be there. Manufacturing and expiry date must be mentioned. And also make sure that item with unique UPC, they need to be packed together. Let's say you are sending to shipment for two items. Just make sure that one of the item is tagged. One of the items should be there in the separate box, while the other one is there in the other another box. Just don't jumble it up together or don't mix them, so that otherwise the DN node will be generated for you and your product will not be inverted, or otherwise you'll have to pick your product back. So just make sure that these things are keep in mind while dispatching your shipment or preparing your shipment. On each item, there has to be the item name, the item ID, the quantity or the UOM, UPC code, MRP, manufacturing or expiry date, and manufacturing and expiry is applicable only in cases where the products are perishable. However, in any other case, you can skip this thing, and the country of origin should also be there. Each master carton must display the following thing. Again, UPC barcode, quantity of items, MRP of the item, manufacturing and expiry date for the perishable ones. And in case of perishable, you need to make sure that your item must have a shelf life of at least 70 to 75 percentage. Otherwise, they won't be accepted at the warehouse. Let's say you have a shelf life of 100 days of your product. So just make sure when you are sending your shipment to the warehouse, they need to have a shelf life of 75 days. Otherwise, the product will not be inverted at the warehouse, and the discrepancy note will be generated for the same. Just make sure that your product don't be is not loose or don't have any unsecure packaging like poly bag. So avoid these stuff. In case of combo, just make sure that you keep your items stacked together, so that because in warehouse we don't jumble up your item, we don't create a combo pack of your item and we don't sell it. So you need to make sure that you stack together the items, because the combo item, they have different UPC and the MRP and the UOM. So just make sure that everything is clearly mentioned over there, and just don't mention the MRP or the UPC of the individual product, because combo has a different listing. So just mention the UPC and the MRP of the combo pack itself, which you have already listed on the platform. So the UPC you can already see on your inventory tab. In each of the respective item ID, they have a different UPC. So for an individual unit, it has a different UPC, and for the combo item, it has a different UPC. So just make sure that uh, you don't mix the UPC of the individual product on the combo product, because some of the sellers do tend to repeat these mistakes. So please avoid, in order to ensure smooth inverting of your product. Yes, this we have covered up. In case of any of the issue that you have, you can always raise a ticket via help and support section. If let's say if you want to make any packaging change in your product, you can always raise a ticket via help and support section. Just click on active product change as a subtype, or sorry, as a type, and subtype you can choose as per your issue. So once your packaging is secured, you can proceed with sending your courier. So while dispatching your courier, someone is asking that what are the documents that we need to keep. You can always download this guide in hand, and you can see the tax invoice is the must while you are sending your shipment to. And also along with tax invoice, you need to keep your RO copy and the appointment pass, because then only your product will be inverted. So make sure to hand over these items, the tax invoice, the RO copy, and the appointment pass to your courier partners. And yes, please make sure that you reach before 30 minutes of your scheduled date and time. Because courier does unloading does take a time, and the vehicles are unloaded as per the queue itself, whether you are coming by yourself or by courier. So please make sure this sometimes does take 3 to 4 hours for your product to be unloaded. So just be little patient while unloading your product. And Blinkit does not provide any pickup or drop service. Sellers are required to arrange their own deliveries. And however, you can avail paid unloading services, which are already there at the Blinkit warehouse. So you can avail them at any point of time. By using your own drivers or helpers, you can do that as well. Again, the point here mentioned that you can always send less than the RO quantity, and just make sure that you keep the invoice ready as per the quantity itself. Otherwise, again, it will cause inverting issue and the DN will be generated. However, you cannot send more than the RO quantity. So once your product is sent, once your product is inverted, it usually take maybe a day or a two for your products to be GRN. Once your product is GRN, it can be GRN on the similar day or the other respective day. So once your product gets GRN, your product will be live on the platform post 2 to 3 days the GRN has been done. So in case if your GRN is done and still the product is not live, or let's say if your GRN is not yet been done, you can always raise a ticket via help and support section. You can just click on help and support. Just go to your inventory ticket type, and you can choose the subtype as stock delivered but GRN pending. Here, the necessary things are mentioned regarding the courier supply. Just make sure that you go through it once. And few things that need to be keep in mind is that in case of delivery and CPEX, just make sure that you get your reschedulement done on their portal itself, because we don't provide a reschedulement option for the delivery and the CFX partner through the Blinkit dashboard, because that is disabled. However, for any of the courier partner, you can reschedule on the dashboard itself. So this you can go by your own. Again, the same thing I mentioned over here. Invoice should be raised to Blinkit Commerce. Please make sure that invoice should have a RO number, RO details, and it should always be raised to Blinkit Commerce Private Limited. You can write it as BCPL also. That will also be okay for us. And also, please make sure that you clearly paste the UPC and don't write it manually